Welcome back to the Hunter Chef channel. Today we're making fresh pasta and I'm gonna do a filled pasta shape called Agnolotti. I've got some fatty wild boar and ground deer, Parmesan cheese, egg white, little juniper, salt, pepper. I'm gonna puree all that in a blender and then we're gonna fill our pasta. All right, I've got my deer and wild boar Agnolotti filling. I've got my pasta sheet ready to go. I've got a couple little tools here. I've got my rolling pin still. I've got this garbage bag, which is a clean garbage bag, unscented, and it really just keeps the pasta that I'm not working with covered. So this is so thin, it's gonna dry out very, very quickly. I've got this little mister. If I notice it, it's starting to crack or dry out on the edges, I can hit it with a little mist. The other thing I've got is an egg. So I'm gonna make some egg wash for sticking the Agnolotti together. So when it cooks, it doesn't pop open. And you can add a little bit of milk or water to make your egg wash. I prefer milk, and just give this a mix. Just use the brush, you can use a fork, whatever you want, just till it's nice and incorporated, and that'll be the glue when I fold over the pasta sheet for the Agnolotti. I've also just got a measuring tape. I want to clean up the edge here to make it as rectangular as possible. All these scraps you can use for homemade pasta. You can just chop it up for rustic pasta. You fold it, roll it, and then cut it into linguinis or cotara, stuff like that. Here I'm just going to give it some semolina so it doesn't completely stick together. I'll save that for later. Got a little melon baller. I'm gonna place a little meatball every inch or so down my pasta sheet. So I learned a lot of this stuff working for Chef Scott Conant Scarpetta restaurant in Toronto. He's got a great sort of a contemporary approach to Italian cuisine, which I quite enjoy. Now we're gonna take our egg wash, just run it down the front here. I'm just gonna egg wash between these guys. I could use the mister too. I probably don't need to do this because pasta's not drying out, but I just want to make sure that these don't open up when cooking. Okay, here's the fun part. The fun part is we just flip this over onto itself. And then I actually try and crimp the front flat down, make a pinch. And as you practice this, you'll get really quick, but it's not a rush. It's pretty therapeutic almost in a way. I've got a little brass cutter, one with a zigzag, one with a straight cut, and I'm just gonna straight cut this row off. So then I've got this little strip filled pasta. Now I've got the zigzag cutter to squish these together. Help it with my thumbs, make a little pocket, and then finish it with the cutter. I'm gonna make sure there's no little air pockets when I squeeze it out. I'm pretty sure I got it all, but if you notice some air, just try and squeeze that out so they don't pop when you're cooking and open up. And when you cook these, that's that little pocket that can kind of hold some of the sauce. And then from here, just get a tray, get some semolina. You can use really fine cornmeal if you have to. And just put all your filled pastas onto the tray. And then once this is filled, I'll slide that into the freezer just to keep it from sticking. If you're gonna use it right away, you can keep it in the fridge. I like to freeze it. It just kind of holds the shape together better before blanching. Got some water boiling, seasoned with salt, and I've got my Agnolotti out of the freezer. And because there's wild boar in this, actual wild boar, I'm just gonna make sure that they float for a couple minutes. Make sure all that meat inside is cooked to 165. And then this one's gonna be a really simple butter sauce. We're gonna have some butter, some of the pasta water, and Parmesan cheese, and toss it all together. I'll hit this with some Parmesan, maybe a little bit more butter, and then I made a fun contemporary garnish with some pork stewed dried plum. Take our Agnolotti to a plate. Chives, more Parmesan. Anything game goes really well with sweet and fruit. And I've got some pork stewed dried plum here. And I'm just gonna add that kind of throughout the pasta. Really contemporary. This is totally optional, but it goes really well with game. So this is a reduced grape must, and it's almost like a reduced balsamic. I'm not sure if you've ever had that really thick and syrupy balsamic, but it's very similar to that. You can just do a couple little drops into the sauce, and it's a really nice contrast to a savory dish. This is really interesting because the deer is quite gamey, and the pork stewed plum really complements that funky game flavor of the deer quite nicely. Yeah, really, really cool, fun dish to try at home. Hope you guys enjoy it. See you in the next one.